Okay, potters, I'm going to show you how to glaze your platters, and this technique will work for your big platters, your small platters, either or. So what you're going to do is in the Underglaze cabinet is this material called wax resist, and it's really just a liquid wax. You're also going to want to get a flat brush, preferably the 1-inch size. You're just going to dip the tip of your brush in the wax and brush this on the bottom of your platter. Now, wherever you put wax or wax resist, the glaze will not go. So you want to make sure that you have a nice clean line going all the way around, because this is how your glaze will end up looking. Now remember, when we glaze these, we don't want to have glaze, you know, about up to there on the edges. So go ahead and go up that far with your wax resist. Now, if you get wax resist on your pot where you don't want it, there's no way of getting it off necessarily. So if that happens to you, talk to me and I'll either help you fix it or figure out a way to kind of incorporate it into your design. So one coat, nice and clean lines. We're gonna let this dry and then I'll show you how to glaze it. Okay, so the wax resist has dried and you can just kind of touch it, and as long as it's, you know, not tacky, you're good. So you're gonna pick the glaze that you want, stir it up, which I've already done. And then for the platters, we're gonna dip them twice. We're gonna hold on to it with our hand, in, out. You're gonna let this drip, drip, drip. Make sure you let it drip into the container. Don't set it up straight so that the glaze puddles. And then if you have any like little parts that aren't getting glaze, I can just like touch it with my finger. Sometimes if that's not enough, I'll dip my finger in and just kind of smooth that out a little bit. Okay, so as this is drying and you're waiting for it to stop dripping, you can get a clean sponge and just wipe that glaze off. Sometimes it will totally resist the glaze, and then sometimes you just have to wipe it off. I'm just gonna do one wipe now. Once it's totally done, then I'll clean it up a little bit more, but you can see how easily the glaze comes off. Okay, so this part is dry. All I'm gonna do is dip it. I'm trying to get it, you know, the same line that the other dip was. Same thing, I'm gonna let it drip. I'm just gonna kind of quickly wipe this off. Again, once this is totally dry, I'll rinse out my sponge and clean that up a little bit more. Just remember that before you put the wax resist on, do a quick rinse underneath the faucet. Let it dry for, you know, about 5 minutes. Then do your wax resist. Then come over and glaze and wipe the bottom off. And then put it directly back on the glaze shelf. Now I will say the wax resist brushes need to be cleaned out after you're done using them. So before you start glazing, make sure you rinse those brushes out. Usually it helps if you have a little bit of warmer water. You can use these sinks or the sinks in the back to rinse out those wax resist brushes. So this is how you're gonna glaze your platters. Yeah. All right, potters, I'm going to show you another way to glaze or treat your surface on your platters. What I have here is Underglaze, and I'm going to shake it up, which I already did, and get a nice big brush. Make sure your brush is clean, and you just kind of like slap this on. Preferably, since we did the press texture, you're going to slap it on and make sure it gets into all those press textures that you did. Okay, so you're gonna let that dry. Now let me say, I've already wax resisted this. I used a different wax resist, that's why it's purple. So just to go through the steps for this, you'd rinse your pot after it's been bisqued, do your 1 coat of wax resist, get your underglaze, slap it on, and then you take a clean sponge and you just wipe that out. You know, depending on the look you want, you can wipe it a little bit more, a little bit less. I like to kind of spread a little bit of that color out on the rest of the pot. And then what it does is It just enhances your underglaze. Now, after I get that the way I want it looking, I'll let you go directly to the clear glaze. Like once this is totally dry, you can go right to the clear glaze and do the dipping technique that I just showed you in the previous video. So you're gonna dip this side, let it drip. Once it's dry, dip this side, clean the bottom off, and you're ready to go. Have fun. Hey Potters, just to be clear, both of those techniques that I just showed you your pot first needs to be bisqued. So in Sgraffito, we underglazed before they were bisqued so that we could scratch through. But these techniques, your pot must be bisqued. So for the dip glazing, the first one I showed you, and then for the underglaze wash, your pot must be bisqued before you do those techniques. All right, have fun.